organization says their teams are empowered, but what does that actually look like? And how do you navigate getting to market quickly versus building for the long term? For example, how do you navigate ambiguity when you don't have all the data? And how do you make sure the customer's voice shapes what you create? Today on Life at Octopus, we're diving into all that with Iryna Melnyk, product director here at Octopus Deploy. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, John. Nice to be here.
So you've had quite a path into product leadership. What first drew you into product management?
That's a great question. I used to be a test engineer, and part of my role was really understanding how what we're building is going to meet or not meet customer expectations. And I was asking the product folks in my organization a lot of uncomfortable questions, and I felt like I was never satisfied with their answers. So, what is better way to get the answers I'll be happy with than go find them myself? So, I became the person who finds those questions, defines what good looks like, and I never looked back.
And you kept asking those questions. Was there a pivotal moment that shaped how you lead or do those sorts of product conversations today?
Like with anything you start doing, you make a lot of mistakes and you learn from them. And I was also lucky enough to have a great support along the way with great product folks in my life who I learned from and I continue to learn from.
Any examples you might cite, or are these industry sort of leaders that folks would know?
Yeah, I think so. At Octopus, we have a list of key influencers that shape our product culture and product practice. And I've been following a lot of them already for many years. Teresa Torres, Rich Mironov, Marty Kagan, yeah, Marisa Perry. Those are some of the names you probably heard about if you are close to product scene and we like the work of these folks a lot. And we invited them to be our guest speakers at our product school events in the past as well.
So what drew you into product other than just the question answering? There must have been some desire to build stuff.
There is the desire to build stuff. I was always fascinated with technology. I come from a technical dynasty, so I've been playing with punch cards as a kid. My mom used to be a developer, and now she's a data engineer. So my mom is still really cool, and I don't know if I'll ever measure up, but I also was always fascinated with human behavior and psychology and how people make choices. And that's what product is all about as well. We can't control how our customers will behave, but we'll try to really critically think about how they might behave and what might make them choose our product over the alternatives. And also, what is super interesting to me about the product as a career is the fact that you really learn how to run the business. You work cross-functionally a lot. You need to understand the constraints of legal, of how to support marketing, how to work really well with the revenue teams and support and customer success. There are many functions. Some roles will require you work with security champions really closely. So it's not just one aspect. You learn a lot about the different functions and how they support the business and how you partner with them to make the product successful. So that's really interesting to me. And then there is also the aspect of making money if you're in a commercial business, which is really fascinating. So yeah, those are all the things that draw me to product and keep me excited and waking up every morning thinking about, ooh, what will I be learning about today?
And at Octopus, you're obviously working closely with other product folks. Can you tell us a little bit about how the product team is structured and how you work together?
We have a few product folks, and we also organize into lightweight structures called groups inside R&D. So we adopted a product trio model, which is not always exactly 3 people, but ultimately design, product engineering, sometimes marketing, sometimes other functions can be a part of the team leadership. We replicate the same at the group leadership, and we replicate the same at the VP level leadership in R&D. That means that at least three key aspects required to make product a success are represented at each leadership level, and setting direction and making crucial decisions. All of the perspectives are taken into account, and I love that because you need the representation of all the 3 functions and the thinking about trade-offs and benefits long term. For our product teams, the product folks work really closely with their cross-functional partners. That's their first team. However, every group has an overarching mission. And so all the teams in one group will have their individual missions that then ladder up to the broader mission at a group level. And that's where there will be some collaboration approaches. There will be sharing of the insights or partnering together to deliver some kind of larger benefit to the customers. We also have our community of practice events that our PM folks run, such as Lean Coffee. We have product school where we get together to learn something. And we have our Slack channels, being a fully remote organization with a lot of preference for async communication channels. We have our knowledge sharing channels where we discuss and get advice on how to approach a certain challenge and so forth.
Are you finding that this is a little bit different than where you've worked elsewhere? Like, I would imagine Octopus is a little different given the fact that we're mostly remote, but from a product perspective, it sounds like there's a little bit more ceremony there than what you might see typically at another company. Or am I wrong? Is that what you typically see?
No, that's actually pretty typical. And yes, the fact that we're fully remote means we need to juggle and optimize our sync time to think about different time zones and how that fits. But yeah, in my past roles, it's been a mix of sync and async as well.
How are you finding the time zones, by the way? You're in New Zealand. Most folks may not know this, but how do you find that?
It's something that you just need to be aware of, and you can manage your time. And at Octopus, like, our values are, we highly autonomous, we hire competent people and we trust them. So high trust environment. And so you manage your schedule. And for product folks and, even engineers, you're joining a global company, you know that customers are distributed around the world. We have teams around the world. Sometimes there will be odd hours that we need to juggle. We're not all up at 5 a.m. every day. No, there's going to be one, maybe two calls per week that we have. But we also have a really great principles when we organize meetings for people in different time zones. It's not that one group of people is always inconvenienced. We have a principle of everyone needs to be inconvenienced equally. So we rotate the time whenever possible to make it easier on folks. But yeah, then the flexibility of then also finishing early if you started early or the other way around. It's all up to you to manage your schedule and work sustainably.
And speaking of that, there's also probably a contention between what you typically see, which is the big picture vision versus the day-to-day work. How do you balance that as well? Because that's always a struggle for me, which is keeping that larger context in mind, but also working on the day-to-day.
If I ever meet a product person who solved that challenge and it's not a challenge anymore, I don't know. I don't know if I can trust
Okay.
that. But hey, if you have, let me know. I would love to talk to you. It's a battle that you have every day because there are so many things that you can do to help the teams, to unblock them, to provide even more context. There are so many ways I can help cross-functionally, and I see that opportunity in the organization. Or I can be very selfish, which is not really being selfish. It's also helping the organization, but blocking out the time to think, to get into the space where you are strategic. And strategy, a lot of it is art as well, and you can't schedule creativity to happen when you happen to have a free hour and a half. But if you have enough of those blocks consistently and you dedicate the thinking time, that helps a lot. Stepping away from your computer, going for a walk. I walk my dog, and I have a lot of good thoughts when I do that. But yeah, so for the short term, I always think myself and product folks in my organization, we need to be aware of what is going on in the field. So our revenue folks, support, customer success, what are they hearing from customers? And really, there is a lot of feedback coming from our customer facing teams. And I'm always grateful for all the feedback. Being able to distinguish the most important and most urgent signals, what we're hearing the most about from the most customers, and then being able to map how that relates to our long-term vision and strategy. Is this something that we've always wanted to do? Is it already somewhere in our thinking, if not on the roadmap just yet, and it's very much aligned with our value proposition and the product we want to be? Or is it a distraction and making the choices? Like the toughest part of the product job is also saying no. So being able to say no decisively and not stretch ourselves too thin or peanut butter the product so that we become mile long and inch deep solution that pleases no one it's a day-to-day battle of every product person. But there are some structures and frameworks that help us navigate that. So our teams, they are empowered via missions, and the mission pitch is a document that we create that articulates some of the key challenges and goals that we want team to solve. We provide some kind of customer examples or signals or data that backs that. And we talk about, well, here is the diagnosis of the key challenge standing in a way. This is what winning looks like. And we talk about also investment appetite. So in our case, it's going to be the size of the team and the duration of the mission. And so that the idea is the team has enough strategic context to go and make really, really good decisions with their mission. We do similar type of thing at the group level. It's going to be higher level, obviously. And that's how we want to approach strategy basically at every level. So every PM owns a strategy for their product team, for their mission. At a group level, product folks and their cross-functional partners own mission for the group. And then at organizational level, we have even a broader mission of becoming a standard for the continuous delivery.
You put a lot on the table there, because one of the things that I think about when thinking about product is it's not only what you believe is right, what you believe customers want, but it's also what are you capable of delivering, right? You have to know your team really well, because you could think maybe as a PM or as a product director that, hey, this feature we're outlining seems pretty easy on spec, and then you give it to your developers and they come back and they're like, what are you talking about? This is impossible. We can't do this. So knowing your team, I would imagine, is an important skill set or nice to know before speccing out features.
Yeah, definitely. And so that's where cross-functional partnership is also really important. When we talk about new missions, we always think about, do we have an existing team who can deliver on that mission, or will we need to hire? That's where engineering directors and engineering leaders are really instrumental, because they will know a lot more, or they can go and if it's something very complex, sometimes we need to start with a prototype to really understand the shape of the challenge ahead of us and what we're going to require.
Do you do a lot of that? Do you guys prototype or do a lot of proof of concepts with the features you guys are thinking about?
Yeah, if there is a level of complexity and unknown, that's always really useful to de-risk the feasibility, to also understand how big the challenge is. As you say, sometimes it looks like a simple thing. Why can't we just do this in a week? Well, it turns out it's a couple of quarters worth of effort. And to really understand that and not walk into something with a bunch of assumptions, it always helps to prototype. And then also, prototypes are so amazing for storytelling. It's always best to show, not tell. So if you need to get buy-in on your direction, on what is possible, so not as what possible today, but what could be, prototype is a great way to show that.
Yeah, there's a phrase that I've used in the past, which is a picture is worth 1,000 words and a prototype is worth 1,000 pictures. And, having a demo or a prototype is going to be obviously great. It sounds to me like you have to lead a lot through ambiguity. There's a lot of ambiguity to the product sort of role, the product director, product management role, especially when there's not a lot of data or the data is incomplete, or maybe you have to go based on a lot of assumptions. How do you lead through that? How do you manage that?
For a lot of product folks, being okay with ambiguity and uncertainty is one of the things that can you can either learn and really get better at, or you will just suffer in this role. So this role is definitely not for everyone. It's all about risk and ambiguity, and making really good decisions on when do you need to de-risk something even more by actually investing into getting more data when you don't have it, or making a decision, because not making a decision is a lot more risky than potentially making a suboptimal decision. So for us, it's a lot of it is a judgment, and that gets informed by our past experience, the data that we have as an organization, and coming from our stakeholders, market and competitor analysis. Sometimes you won't have the exact data to answer your exact question, but you will have enough of a framework or a mental model that will help you still make a good decision if you don't have the exact data. But for us, we always want to be aware of the adoption and customer satisfaction at a high level. So we want to be able to know what success will look like for the things we're investing into, and then being able to measure the impact of the work that we've invested in. And yeah, sometimes it's hard and sometimes it requires effort. There is no magic answer to that.
What are some of the ways in which you measure success? You said earlier that when you have to measure the impact. What are some of the ways in which you do that?
Yeah. So for me personally, the level of success to me is the ARR number. So there is an ARR metric I pay attention to, and it's for a specific segment. So the answer, of course, it will vary and it will depend. When we talk about our product teams and their missions, um, it can be defined by customers adopting a certain initiative that we invested in because it solves a real problem. So adoption to us is a sign that we really solved the problem and the way we solved it is useful. Um, Sometimes it's going to be the amount of new revenue or new customers joining. Sometimes it will be related to retention. So customers either expanding or adopting new features and staying happy customers with our product. Sometimes it's to do with cost savings. So for product folks, very crucial aspect of their role is being commercially aware and having being a SaaS product. Economies of scale are really important, and keeping an eye on the margin and making sure the margin stays healthy. Understanding how the business makes money and where the costs come from, and how the teams can influence that balance staying healthy. And in my group, that aspect is very important.
I would imagine one of the tough things about measuring is, some of those metrics you may not gather for a long time. Like it may take like one of the things I think about is when you're especially a software product, everyone's elbowing each other out of the way to try and get attention. Like, hey, look at me, I'm the new feature, sort of thing. I would imagine one of the things that's tough is you're not going to really know the impact of your feature until probably weeks, if not months after it's shipped. Is that the case for a lot of stuff that you do?
Yeah, it can be even worse. Being a B2B product, and we've been going up market, so we've been targeting larger, complex enterprise customers over the past few years. It can be more than months. Sometimes it can be a year to really start to see the impact. And Octopus comes in two flavors: SaaS and self-host. And for us, the SaaS customers, they get all the latest and greatest of Octopus first. For self-host customers, we don't control their upgrade cadences and other things that they're juggling. So it may take a long time for us to see adoption and for us to get feedback from the wider customer base. Yeah, it is unique. It's a unique B2B, especially enterprise B2B challenge. And the trick here is to look for leading indicators for adoption. So ideally, a product person building something, they would have identified their early adopters. They would speak to them. They probably would gather feedback or some quotes even before the launch. And after the launch, they will stay in contact with those customers. They will seek feedback to inform the future iteration. And so even the qualitative feedback and the amount of interest from other customers will tell you what the adoption is likely to be. If your customers didn't just try it once, but they keep coming back and actively using the feature and sharing more feedback in their calls with their customer success managers, they rave about this feature and how it changed their life. And there are real examples of improvements that they were able to make in their teams. Those are really great leading indicators, and you can start celebrating the impact even before the year has elapsed.
It must feel really good when you get one of those reports back.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And so voice of the customer is super important for us. One of our key values is doing the right thing by our customers. So yeah, the customer stories are present in our showcases, in our all hands, in our async channels or positive channels where we celebrate and give shout outs to each other. Bringing in a customer quote is a regular thing.
What excites you the most about the future of product at Octopus?
So Octopus being a scale up, it's always a fun challenge because we found our ways of working in playbooks, but we're growing. So what used to work for us a year or 2 years ago may not work for us in the future. And as we are getting bigger, even now, it's getting trickier to stay across everything that is happening in every team at Octopus. So for me, the exciting challenge that I would like us to see solve is focus on being a more coherent team with um, sharing about the challenges and the creative ways we're coming up with solving them, and tapping more into the expertise of various product folks across the organization. We tried that before. We tried a few different approaches, and we yet to find a way that requires that enables everyone to contribute without requiring them to become an expert in each domain. So that doesn't scale. But to me, we want to find a way and the language and the framework to talk about the customer experiences in different product areas that we own that can inform and help product folks across the organization make better decisions and be aware of that context. Because chances are the customer mental models and approaches in one area will be consistent with other areas.
Yeah, one of the things that I see on the tangible side of that is the product board that we have for Roadmap. So if you go to roadmap.octopus.com, you'll see a site that basically has a bunch of features that have shipped, a bunch of features that are planned, and a bunch of features that we're thinking about. And I would imagine that's a sort of quantitative scoreboard of all the excitement that's going into product these days. Do you guys watch that like a hawk? Do you guys watch that all the time and see what customers are responding to, and in addition to the conversations you're having?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really amazing every time I see a customer taking time to vote on one of the existing cards and tell us why and give us a little comment on the why. I am so happy. That signal is very, very helpful for product folks who are making those trade-off decisions every day. And it's really difficult because there are so many great things we could be doing. So getting that signal is really instrumental in us feeling even more confident in our decisions. The really cool feature of product board also is that customers can submit their feature ideas. So if it's not captured yet on our public roadmap, we will always review and consider every new idea that comes through that channel. And yes, we always triage every input, every bit of feedback. This is how some of our product folks find their early adopters or alpha program participants. And it's been really successful for us.
If someone was thinking about joining the product team at Octopus, what should they know? What sort of skills should they have? What sort of abilities should they have? We've heard a lot about dealing with ambiguity as an asset. Is there anything else that you might want to mention?
Yeah, I think the key thing, and it's an amazing aspect of being a product person at Octopus, is leading an empowered product team. So we expect our product folks to make decisions and to own the big, complex, risky decisions. And yes, there is a lot of support, and the leaders are there to support and guide you if you need it. But what I find a lot of the time, there are so many organizations who still don't get the role and the value of a product manager. And so product managers that I often speak to, they execute on ideas that came from elsewhere, from an executive, from some kind of senior leader. And they're really great at managing delivery and stakeholder management and planning for the launch and taking things to market. But the decision making and the critical thinking that comes with it is a key need for us at Octopus. And so I always encourage folks, perhaps you weren't in an organization that allowed you to be empowered, that they didn't have that expectation from you and you didn't have much say into what gets done. But don't let that stop you, because what you can still do is think about, okay, well, this is my path, that was created for me. I need to lead the team on this path. But if I were to make this decision, what would I need to consider? What information would I need to go and find? How would I think through the problem? How would I think through the options? Um, the conversations I would have if I saw a better way. Maybe you didn't get a chance to even have that conversation. Just having that thinking and bringing that mindset will really help you succeed at Octopus.
Now it's time for our rapid fire questions. So Iryna has not seen these questions. So just to clarify for folks who are watching, most of the time I never show these questions to anyone. I just want to get people's reactions to them. All right. So starting things off, we have first question: roadmap or experimentation? Which do you lean towards?
Oh, experimentation.
And why?
If you don't experiment and you don't learn, your roadmap is a list of hopes and dreams.
Love it. That's awesome. Favorite tool for keeping your team aligned?
I'd say Slack. We love Slack.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Do you have a favorite emoji that you like to use a lot?
Emoji that I like to use a lot.
The check mark. Done.
Check. um, I like all the dancing emojis we have. We have so many
Okay.
dancing emojis. So celebrating and dancing and
Very good.
party ones. Yeah.
That's awesome. One product principle you never compromise on.
Mm. Do the right thing for our customers and our teams.
Good answer. Is there a product buzzword that you actually like? I've heard them all.
Oh, you've heard them all? Okay, buzzword.
Yes.
It
Yes.
it
Is there
depends.
one that you use?
It
It
depends.
depends.
Yeah, guilty. The worst product
Okay.
buzzword.
It is. It is a very apt reference. It depends because it always does. And is there a favorite way to unwind after a big release for you? Taking the dog for a walk you mentioned earlier. Is there anything else?
Yeah, taking the dog for a walk. Going to the beach. Beach is my happy place.
Okay.
And
Nice.
yeah, watching the waves crash on the sand.
How are the beaches in New Zealand? I hear they're nice.
They are pretty nice. Yes, good surf. Some beaches are a bit dangerous, so you need to be aware of the rip
Okay.
currents and all that. But yeah, we
Yep.
don't have many sharks or any of those jellyfish that can kill you that they have in Australia.
Like in
So
Australia?
that's a big
Yes,
bonus.
that's right. And finally, if you weren't in product, what would you be doing instead?
Oh gosh. What would I
Punch
be doing
cards? More punch
instead?
cards like your mom?
Maybe, yeah, data science is exciting. Maybe I would stay as a senior technical IC contributor. Yeah, probably that
That's
for
awesome.
technology.
That's awesome.
Can't see myself not being involved in one way or another.
Hey, look, I've been there. I've dealt with technology my whole life. My dad was a doctor. I pursued that for a little bit, and then I thought, nope, I like computers more. But I could easily see myself falling back on that. So it's funny what our parents imprint on us in terms of jobs and roles in the future. So there you go. Anyways, Iryna, thank you very much for joining me for this latest edition of Life at Octopus. It was great to hear about how you work on the product side of things at Octopus. And if you're at all interested in how empowered teams can actually work or want to be part of one, you can visit octopus.com/careers. There you'll find a bunch of job roles. Iryna, are you hiring right now? I think you are.
I am hiring. Actually, there are 2 roles that are open right now. And look, if you're watching it later and there aren't any roles open anymore, we're always looking for amazing folks. So expression of interest or just find me on LinkedIn and get in touch. I'd love to meet you and have a chat about your past experience and what Octopus has, what is coming up at Octopus.
All right. Well, we'll see you on the next one, everyone. Take care.